Eyo de Fleming Waro. So Rebe Kabi. Abwa Ghana. Nagana Beyo. Eyo de Fleming Waro.
Why Bawumia should never be president? It's all about Ghana, our motherland. Now, who are we talking about? Bawumia? Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. This is the man. His father was called Mumuni Bawumia. Very powerful member of Kwame Nkrumah's CPP. Kwame Nkrumah loved him. And he was loyal to Kwame Nkrumah. At the end of the day, he became a chief. He served in so many different capacities in the interest of the nation. But his son was not so interested in politics. Come here. So what did he do? He was more interested in academia. He was born in Tamale on the 7th of October 1963. And right from the start, he was just interested in books and books and books, just like me. He went to Tamale Secondary School. My brother, my sister, the 62-year-old, my brother, my sister, as a child, loved to read. From Tamale Secondary School, he was able to make it. And then he flew all the way to London to go and study. He went to Lincoln University, where Kwame Nkrumah used to play. He also went to Fraser and many other top universities. My brother, my sister, he loved economics. He loved accounting. He was so brilliant. He had a stint working with some international financial groups around the world, world-renowned. Whilst he was in London and other such places, plying his trade as a gentleman, many people approached him and asked him if he would not want to take his father's footsteps of being a politician. He always turned it down and said, no, I'm not interested. Yes, he is my father, but he has his own destiny. Mine is the academics. But Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo had the rare privilege of meeting the academician, and he spoke to him about getting him to be his running mate and to help Ghana grow. He didn't like the idea. But Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo insisted time and again and told him, I have seen your achievements in the fiscal departments of the world. It's time now to bring your acumen to Ghana and support us. He told him point blank, my father was an Nkrumahist. Oh yes, he also had a stint with some other political parties in the north. If anything at all, I am an Nkrumahist. But your party has nothing to do with Nkrumah except to betray Nkrumah. But Nana Addo still insisted. Even your father had a stint with one or two of some of these parties. You could pass for a dombo. What do we mean when we say a dombo? Remember, it used to be called Busia Dankwa. And all of a sudden, in the days of Kufuor, they realized that one very important man who had almost become like the foundation of the so-called Busia Dankwa, SD Dombo. my brother, my sister, had been forgotten. So they brought SD Dombo back into the so-called NPP tradition, honoring him for the first time in the days of Kufuor. So they had a way of sneaking Bawumia into the NPP, an avowed Nkrumahist, shaking all his feathers and skin and jumping on the train of the NPP. A lot of NPP people didn't like the idea. But they knew he was a very strong force at the time that Mahama was in power. Oh my God. There was no way they could beat Mahama. Just like that, they needed another person from the north with that level of understanding and power. They convinced Bawumia to jump from the ship of academia into the political ship. And then when he hits the platforms of politics, he was awesome. He spoke good English. He was able to talk the economics we wanted to hear. And all his political conferences and gatherings were packed to capacity like sardine cans on ship. Yes, sardine cans on ships. My brother, my sister, we all love to listen to Bawumia. He was able to diagnose forensically, my brother, my sister, the problem with the Ghanaian economy with accurate forensicity. Oh my God. We loved him. He spoke well. And Nana Addo himself said that he had made a good choice. Because this man was not only a lion on the campaign front, he was also very brilliant upstairs. The NPP guys kept quiet. They knew he was not fit, but they allowed him in there because he was helping the party. Well, they lost the first time. They went ahead. Long story cut short, they finally won the elections. And the academic, who had been forced to write as a politician, for the first few months of his vice presidency, he was still talking as if he was in opposition. He was the one who made this slogan, if you may call it so popular, the incompetent Mahama. My brother, my sister, he relegated Mahama to an early retirement, political retirement. Nobody ever believed Mahama would come back again. Bawumia had the power to do that. He started becoming arrogant. The people who had supported him and helped him to come into power, he started off by cutting them off like a bad habit. He was so excited about being in power. He was being used to tell all the lies and to spread all the propaganda. And he thought that he was so smart. He didn't know they were making a fool out of him. Any propaganda that came out, he was the one who led that. From one place to the other, he went with his shiny Socorro head, jumped from one point to the other like an injected frog with legatil. My brother, my sister, he did all the dances off beat. And people still loved them right from the beginning until they realized that the lies were becoming too much. The economy decided to suffer under Bawumia for a reason everybody knows. And when they came for the second term, it was worse. They could only say, oh, you know what? It is the war, Ukraine-Russia war, that is causing all this, and COVID. Yet, it was on record that they made so much money during the COVID, more than any other disaster. So the disaster was actually a blessing, but they blew all the money. He had the support of Saudi Arabia and Nigerian Muslims to support him. My brother, my sister. And he started to get extremely arrogant like his boss. But what brought Bawumia down was when some party members started criticizing him. They didn't care when he was on the campaign platform. They started to care now that he was not a true-blooded NPP person. They brought histories about his father. They wanted him out of the party, but Nana Addo had promised him that he would hand over power to him. So the new kid on the block believed Nana Addo, and he started jumping around again, my brother, my sister, with all that in his head, that he was going to be the next president. Bawumia was sidelined because Nana Addo brought his own cronies, his true colors started to show. The Akan party that it is, they finally brought their power and true colors to bear. They relegated him to the background. Kenoforiata, Gabia Sariochridakon, they were more powerful than this guy. He was just a vice president on paper, but a lot of the decisions were taken by these guys, some of who never even held any political office, like Gabia Sariochridakon. So this guy became a puppet. He was asked to go and commission toilets, and he became the king of Ghana's toilets. He didn't know that he was being used. Sometimes he'll be asked to go say things, like it happened in the central region when he went to tell the chiefs that they were going to build them an airport and also a harbor, only for Nana Addo to go there a few days later and tell them that he never made that promise, it was not going to happen. And when he came, there was a big egg on the face of this man here called Bawumia. My brother, my sister, Bawumia betrayed his own people who had supported them to come into power. And at the end of the day, he's now going around apologizing to people for his abysmal performance. But to make it worse, this guy here, in the run-up to the elections, he told Ghanaians that he was not himself when he was with Nana Addo. He was only a mate. Nana Addo was taking all the decisions with his cronies, and he was relegated to the background as a mate. No decision. Such a cowardly man should never ever be president anywhere. Why did he not resign? If Nana Addo came all the way to England, went to America and other places and saw how brilliantly you were perambulating in the physical world, and decided that he needed your brains, he brought you home, locked up your brains in an empty pot, and you were still sitting there like a stooge, like a puppet, watching him, because you were still being paid salary, and you had the power to tell people, I am the vice president, you know. I am the vice president, you know. You don't go where you are not appreciated. You don't go where your value is deteriorated. If a man tells you that you are so valuable and he wants you to come and help him increase his value, and when you realize that you have been relegated to the background, it looks like you are valueless, what do? Show your real value. Walk off. But the coward didn't do it, because Nana Addo told him that he will be the next president. He will hand over power to him. And we all heard Nana Addo say it. I want to hand over power to an NPP government. He did everything possible to push this guy into the primaries. He won the primaries. But Ghanaians didn't forget the lies he told, the arrogance that he showed, and the weakness, the impotence that he showed. In fact, the gullibility that he showed. They were not ready to have him again. He had one of the worst defeats in the history of our politics. He couldn't wait for the electoral commissioner to come out with the results. he came out point blank and told the whole world that he had lost. I thought at that time he would have relegated himself to the background and told the whole world that, you know what, I'm returning to the world of economics. He had lost it all as an economist. Nobody trusts this guy anymore. I'm sure even if you take him to Nalergu Secondary School for him to teach from one student's economics, the class will be empty. Can I say it again? If you take Bawumia to Nalergu Secondary School, his own hometown of Wale Secondary School, to teach from one student's economics, the class will be empty because they know he's a failure. If you take him to Tamale Secondary School, Tamasco, in fact, before he arrives there, the whole school will become a desert. Because where Bawumia goes, failure goes with him. He disgraced the people of the North, disgraced the people who believed that he was full of knowledge. We started hearing of Bawumia years before he showed into Ghanaian politics. When Nana Addo decided to pick him up, I was one of the first to go knocking on his door, and I told him, brother, it is time for you to show the whole world that the people from your area are not only Kayayo people, that they also have this, and that they can make it. Oh, brother, don't worry, we are here. You will see what we will do. I remember that day in his house, and his wife was sitting by him. He has 4 children with his wife, according to Wikipedia. At the end of the day, look how abysmally he performed. The gentleman that I knew became a monster of arrogance, a monster of lies. Today, if you are looking to pass your economics paper, Bawumia would be the last resort, because during his tenure as the chairman of the economic committee, Ghana became the worst country in terms of the economy. The cedi was the most abysmal currency in the world. And he still called himself an economist. What kind of economist is this? And when he realized that he had failed, poto, as we say in the Ashanti region, he came with an alibi, like the coward that he is. Oh, I was only a mate. He seemed to be saying, I'm not part of this mess. I was only a mate. Bawumia should never be president of this nation. He doesn't have the balls to withstand pressure. And 2, he's full of alibis and lies. We need a leader who will stand and tell the people, you know what? I messed up, and for that matter, I am living for a better person to take over. We need a leader who will look into the faces of people and tell them, you know what? It's a rocky time now, but these are the timelines. Things are going to be sorted out. Not the pilot who jumps off the plane and leaves the plane to its destiny, to crash and kill people. Not the pilot on the ship who jumps ships and leaves that ship to crash and sink like the Titanic. And Bawumia is that captain of the ship, Titanic. Is the Black Port.
Nagana beyo,